What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. As you can see by that title, we are going to be talking about what everyone is forcing us to think and talk about: surviving R. Kelly. So I have a few opinions here, but first I just want to recap on the specifics that I've seen. The first episode I did not care for, I was not interested, but of course social media is now in an uproar about all this information, so it makes you get curious, and it also kind of makes you feel like, well, I can't state an opinion until I watch it myself. So yesterday I tuned in for part 2. I got to catch a bit of the first episode whenever they addressed the situation with Aaliyah and things like that. So let's start off there with Aaliyah's part. And guys, after this video, during this video, feel free to pause and leave comments, because I'm just trying to figure out if anyone's thinking the way that I'm thinking, because all of this is just a hot mess for me, period. So anyways, there's this dancer, and I will insert a picture of her here. So apparently she was just this background dancer, and she was explaining how there was bunks in the tour bus, and on each bunk there was a curtain. So if you wanted privacy, of course you could close your curtain, but in the end of the hall there's a room, and that room of course was for R. Kelly. He had his nice bed, blah blah blah. So I guess everyone was cool. They were like a huge family, the whole group and everything like that. They were playing pranks on each other. So that night, for whatever reason, the door was flung open. I don't know if someone was playing the prank to open the door so they could reveal what was going on behind there or what, but however it goes, she was bringing this up because that's whenever she realized Aaliyah was there and apparently performing sexual acts on R. Kelly, or in the middle of sex. Like, she didn't really specify, but that's pretty much what she was saying. And so from then on, that's whenever it was kind of out, and everyone was kind of just like, you know, I guess giving him a side eye about it. And that's red flag number 1. If you, just how I posted in my other video, like my cousin had told me, seeing an issue and not speaking up about it makes you a part of the problem too. So really, for her to have been young and sweet and innocent, and you see that she is pretty much being taken advantage of in any way, or possibly being manipulated, why haven't you spoken up? And so I'm going to insert a picture of Aaliyah's mother, her statement that she released in the Shade Room, also posted right here. She was just pretty much saying how her parents are, well, her and her husband are like disgusted by this news and this whole documentary in general. The fact that they were always with Aaliyah, you know, 24/7, always watching what she was doing, who she was with, and that all of these accusations are truly false. And just, to me, like, I personally call it like a sick, disgusting satire. That's just what it looks like, because for me, a person that has dealt with sexual abuse and things like that, security and privacy are number 1 to us, because all of that has already been robbed from us. So myself, if a team of production or people come to me and say, hey, we know you've been through something, we know you've witnessed something, we want to help, or whatever. So I'll be like, okay, cool. Do you have a lawyer for me? Is there a judge I can speak with? I wouldn't say, yeah, let's do this whole documentary and bring up issues from other women. Aaliyah's dead now. She doesn't have a voice. So the fact that they even threw her into this, and, you know, she can't really speak for herself, and her parents are saying, oh, no, like, there's no way. Okay, well, if there was, for a reason, Aaliyah got away and was with this man, you know, we would want to know her side of it. You know, and not saying that anything that he's doing or has done is right. That's definitely not my intention at all. But it's just like the documentary itself, I do not understand why it's a thing. So moving on from that, now I can't remember if this was a part of part 1 or part 2, but I want to go ahead and talk about Sparkle. So this is a picture of Sparkle. I believe she was a background singer and very talented lady and things like that. Throughout the clips with her speaking, they were inserting photos of her 13-year-old niece. Now, whenever she brought her 13-year-old niece around, she would always say, I had to keep an eye on her. She knew her 13-year-old niece was talented, could rap. At a very young age, like, this girl had talent. So that's why she wanted her to, get around into, like, the music business and see how things work. Being that cool aunt, which is dope for sure. Oh, my tongue ring ball just wanted to roll out of my mouth. So, yeah, we're going to ignore that. But anyway, so she was expressing how she always kept an eye on her niece. She did not want anything to ever happen to her. And then whenever that news station or whatever were delivered these like crazy videos or private videos, which end up being the video of R.Kelly having sex with a minor and pissing in her mouth, Sparkle ended up realizing that that was her niece. So now, Sparkle also had mentioned that there was times where she would go to the studio to do her work, and then she would see her niece there. And so she would go up to her and say, hey, like, why are you here? She goes, oh, yeah, they invited me here because it's going to be more kids here, and they're doing, like, a Christmas party and things like that. Like, right then and there, you should have been like, no, you need to go home. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just too many. It doesn't make sense. This does not make sense. How are these kids leaving their home, going to these places with these people, and no one's knowing? They're just gone for ample amount of time, and no one's keeping record of this. Because me, at 13, 14, however old she was at the time, my mom like, where the hell do you think you're going? Who is this nice SUV coming to privately pick you up? Or, it just doesn't make sense. And again, not to give R. Kelly an excuse, but it's like all of this stuff, it can be avoided. Period. All this could have been avoided if people were actually watching. And a lot of people were commenting and saying, yeah, like, people pretty much, sell their kids in order to get a check. They allow their kids to go through this, and it's manipulative and it's not cool. And again, why does this document exist? This information needs to be taken to a court so something can actually happen. Because at this point, it's all just accusations and slander. And literally, if you do have any attorneys and they do watch these videos, 9 times out of 10, they're not able to use any of this information in court due to the fact that it's already released to the public. So I'm just not understanding. So anyways, on to the next person. And for that 13, 14-year-old girl, I feel extremely sorry for her. That is crazy that she went through that, and for her to keep coming. Like, you were able to go home. Why did you keep going to him and hanging out with him? And again, that's that brainwash, that's that manipulation for her to be young and thinking that, oh, this is daddy. I hear he would like to make them call him daddy. So, yuck, disgusting. Next, so this lady over here, now I don't remember her name. I will just insert her name whenever I continue my research. So with her, she was saying how she went to his house one day, and he had another girl there, and she had to have been 16 years old. Like, that's what he had explained to her. Oh yeah, she's 16. And they ended up doing a threesome. And she said she began to cry because she had to perform an act on the girl, and the girl had to perform an act on her. Like, R. Kelly wanted to watch, and then he joined in. So this is just, it's like, this is on TV. Like, this is, for me, I would not be on television talking about this. For my troubles, I would not be mentioning this. I just don't get it. And the reason why she met him is because I believe she was at some event, I don't know, for trying to try out or whatever, but however the case may be, he ended up taking her to a trailer and things like that. Just told her to take your clothes off, take your dress off. He wanted to see her body. He ended up taking her to the room, and that's when they first had their intimate moment. So then on, he kept requesting her, of course. And later on, she found out that same girl ended up being 14 years old. So after she found that out, she was mortified. So I'm trying to put 2 and 2 together and see if that's the same girl, Sparkle's niece. But it's messy. It's messy, and it gets worse. And so I'm leaving this third lady, the light-skinned one that looks like she's Latina. I'm leaving her last. Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about you, Mrs. R. Kelly, ex-wife. We'll definitely talk about her too. But anyways, focusing on this Latina, don't remember her name either. Like I said, I actually fell asleep during the documentary. I'm just like, oh, this is horrible. I can't allow my soul to just be drained with all of this like crazy information, you know. But other than that, I just keep seeing it, so I'm just trying to vent it all out with you guys on YouTube. And leave a comment again if you understand where I'm coming from. Take this information to court, period. So with her, she was told that R. Kelly wanted to have dinner with her, to discuss, you know, her career. She thought that she was going to be like this great, you know, singer and things like that. They inserted clips of her, you know, cha-cha, like she was a young Selena, like she looked like she could have somewhere to go. So fast forward from that, you know, dinner or whatever with the bosses about talking about a possible contract and things like that. Again, she's young, she doesn't realize. So R.Kelly had met her in a studio. He was playing the piano, he played a nice song, he was singing, oh, it's just so sweet, blah, blah, blah. I believe she sat next to him, and he ended up kissing her. So she did not say that he was like, oh, may I kiss you or anything. He just ended up doing that. And then from then on, she was brainwashed, she was a hostage, just like everybody else. You know, I'm not understanding if these people were allowed to go home or not at any point, or if they were just locked up from that like one thing, because it's just all the same like steps. Like he grooms them the same way, promising them, you know, this or this furtheration in your career and all of this and that, but really it's just like, I'm just gonna use you for sexual acts and then dismiss you. But with her, and why I'm kind of leaving her case last, is because she was mentioning how, you know, she explained it, period. She was just like, look, I wanted to be the singer, and I kept coming back because I thought eventually I would, you know, get a record deal and things like that. Like, I was willing to risk it all, and, you know, it's like, no, why do that? But again, we have to consider their ages and them thinking like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And this is so disgusting, and why I left her last is because she said it got so disrespectful to a point where he would be on a tour bus with other people and say, hey, come do this to me right now, in front of other people, like humiliating her in that way. And that is disgusting. That is just so terrible. And this will lead me to the ex-wife, because this will kind of explain, you know, the other girls, because I'm trying to understand the fact that they weren't able to, you know, break away from this, other than, you know, like family, whatever. But Crystal, I believe her name, I will correct it, y'all. Like I said, it was sleep. I will correct if I have to. But I think the ex-wife name is Crystal. She was saying that R.Kelly, you know, they were cool. They were great at first. He expressed to her that he couldn't read or write, but he would create and make these like awesome songs, awesome music. He was talented. So to her, it was like he was like her fixer-upper, you know. She was going to work on him. They were going to be perfect. But it got to a point where he would always lock her in the room. If he had people over, she would have to knock on her door. And if he decided to respond, you know, she was like, okay, is it okay for me to come down and eat? Like, these women had to request when they could shit, when they could eat, when they could do anything. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's terrible. It's just so terrible. And she was expressing the fact that she wasn't even able. Actually, she kept her phone, but I don't think she realized that he changed the number. So she wasn't even able to contact her people at any time. And whenever he actually proposed, he set everything up perfectly. None of her family was involved. It was all of his reps. And even the reps were saying they kind of felt bad for her because, you know, you could tell that something was missing. And so it's like from then on, it's like she was trapped. She had kids with him, you know, things kept going, and all the while he's still doing all these things behind closed doors. So with that being said, she was crying and she was saying, you know, people are going to be like me, you know, saying, you know, why say all this now and blah, 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 and things like that. And she was like, you don't realize like the abuse and the hurt and the brainwashing. And that is true. Abuse victims do have a hard time breaking away. So again, I do feel for them. But again, all of these things should have been mentioned in court, especially whenever you were filing that divorce. You should have brought up some receipts so he could be handled accordingly, because he's still out here. And I believe recently he had like a 19-year-old girlfriend. Like, you know, he still is attracted to these young women. And keep in mind, R.Kelly, he is a sexual abuse victim himself. So he's dealt with that. So you could kind of understand how he's already psychologically messed up and just free and on the loose. Hasn't really, you know, opened up about his situation either. And I want to insert a clip or this video that I had found of Crystal recently that has a lot of people confused, because just last year she was in a ride with her new dude, bumping his music and saying and gloating and saying, yeah, this is my baby daddy, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know? So actually, I'm not even going to put it right here. I'm just going to insert it so you guys can watch that full on. Very confusing, but again, leave your comments about it.
Come through, Facebook Live. Yes, that is my baby daddy playing in the background. What y'all thought?
Turn right to I-285 South.
Questions, you have passed my test. Happy people, yeah. Turn it, yes, them who people? Happy people. Come on, baby daddy. Other baby daddy. Dancing. Happy people.
All right, and so how I want to end this video, of course, we'll be watching part 3, and maybe some more stuff will come out. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not, because it really, like, turned me off. But the last thing I want to wrap up is this picture that I've seen. It is Hugh Hefner and R.Kelly saying, what's the difference? And the comment section to this post is wow, because a lot of people are saying the only difference is Hefner's team did not speak and R.Kelly's team did. People are saying, oh no, you know, it's completely different. Those girls weren't being held against their will, but we come to find out Hefner did have them tied to contracts where they could not leave home, that they could not go and have other jobs or talk to other guys and things like that. So they're pretty much saying, what is the difference? And exactly what the first person said is the fact that the team hasn't stepped up to speak against him. The girls haven't really stepped up to speak against him. I do remember one lady saying in one of like the E-News videos about Hefner and what's it really like with being a Playboy bunny, I believe she said how strict it was and things like that, but no one never really went so far to create a documentary. And on both sides, no one's gone to court to express their pain and their suffering. So again, can someone please explain to me the purpose of this documentary? I'm not understanding. Very lastly, I do want to go ahead and insert this last video that's going on online. I kind of found it funny because it just kind of explains my point. So you guys watch this.
Going down my timeline, I'm seeing this surviving R.Kelly shit. First of all, what type of title is that anyway? Y'all act like this nigga a hurricane or a tornado or some shit. They never let black icons and legends just have a clean slate. It's always some bullshit. Michael Jackson, touch little boys. Whitney Houston, a crackhead. Bill Cosby, drug bitches. But the Kardashian daddy cut his whole dick off and making millions of dollars for doing this shit. Now, I'm not saying these women are lying or telling the truth. All I'm saying is sometimes we gotta question the motive. Why now? When this nigga was in the prime of his career, all you motherfuckers was shaking a tail feather with him. Nobody called the police. But he brainwashed me. Motherfucker, it's your brain. How you gonna get mad because you let a motherfucker brainwash some shit that belong to you? It's niggas in the interview. I seen him at high schools every day. Let me tell you something. If I seen a grown man up at a high school every day that didn't have a kid that went there, I would have whooped his ass myself. Own up to the part that you playing this shit.
And with that being said, like all of you people around, again, the girl who witnessed Aaliyah, you know, in the tour bus, why didn't you guys say anything? All these people, all of his reps, they were like, oh yeah, he's outside of the high school. Y'all are pretty much accessories to his crime, and you allowed them to happen. You have to speak up, period, and make sure you go to the right sources. Don't go and sell a story to a production company. I don't understand why anyone would allow anybody to capitalize off of their pain and suffering. Take your butt to court, period. So with that being said, I'm done. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your opinion. Again, I'm not protecting this man. I'm not saying anything that he is done is right in any way and that all these women are lying, but it's just like pretty much you're giving up, you know, your story. You're giving your story up to a production company so they can capitalize on it without going to court to see this man in court and possibly be behind bars. How are you going to prevent him from affecting others? That should be your main goal. So Like, comment, subscribe.